Live from Television Hill, this is WJZ News at 5:30.
We will not allow folks to think that they're going to get away with harming people on the streets of Baltimore.
Well, 2 Baltimore officers recovering tonight after being shot outside Security Square Mall. Thanks for staying with WJZ. I'm Nicole Baker.
And I'm Rick Ritter. This all happened this morning when the officers were attempting to serve a warrant when that suspect opened fire.
And now tonight that suspect is dead. Our live team coverage continues tonight. We want to begin with WJZ investigator Mike Helgen, who's live where that shooting happened. Mike.
Nicole and Rick, let's go through what happened. As you said, this was in the 8 o'clock hour here at Security Square Mall. We understand everything happened here in the parking lot. Now, there were 2 officers from Baltimore City there with a regional warrant or apprehension task force, and they approached a man who was wanted in connection with the murder in West Baltimore. As soon as they approached, they say that man, identified as 32-year-old Justin Powell, started shooting at them. By the end of it all, he was seriously wounded. He died at the hospital later. The officers, 2 of them were shot. They suffered non-life-threatening injuries. They're at shock trauma right now. Let's hear what Commissioner Harrison had to say earlier today.
What we saw today was exactly what officers go through. These are the most dangerous situations imaginable, but they did their job with bravery, with courage, and with professionalism.
And it certainly is a dangerous job. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll run through some of the more recent encounters that the Warrant Apprehension Task Force has had with suspects, some of them deadly. Reporting live at Security Square Mall, Mike Helgen, WJZ.
Yeah, it's a dangerous job, Mike. Thank you. Our team coverage continues tonight with Kelsey Kushner.
And Kelsey's live in the neighborhood on West Lanval Street. That's where police say Powell was suspected in a homicide back in June. Kelsey.
Nicole, Rick, well, everything circles right back to here on West Lanval Street. Now, neighbors tell me that these 2 billboards here are photos of Ali Hines. They say he was allegedly shot and killed by Powell just last month here. Now, neighbors say that 32-year-old Justin Powell, police say he's wanted on a murder and handgun warrant after allegedly killing 38-year-old Ali Hines back in June. Police say when they responded to the scene, they found Hines suffering from gunshot wounds. Hines was transported to shock trauma where he later died, and neighbors say although it's sad, it's a relief his family got justice.
I'm happy because he was well loved. Ali was well loved in the community and to people, and he did a lot of things to help people in the community. I'm glad it's over, but it's so sad. It's a sad time.
Now, again, neighbors say that they are relieved knowing that his killer is off the streets. Reporting live at 5, Kelsey Kushner for WJZ.
All right, well, so many of you are simply frustrated and want your voices heard in front of lawmakers on Capitol Hill. It's about the ongoing post office delays making everyday life very difficult. WJZ is live tonight. Setsa Miller tells us the message to lawmakers here is very clear. Just fix it.
Hey there, Nicole. Yeah, that's right. We heard from some very upset people today who say their businesses and lives have been badly impacted by all of these mail delays. We also heard from the Inspector General of the Post Office who talked about some of the issues and some of the things they might be able to do to fix some of them.
I'm only getting sporadic mail deliveries now.
I don't get mail for like weeks at a time.
For over a year now, the post office has been causing a lot of problems for people all across Maryland and other parts of the country.
We have to pay late charges on our bills, and it's all because of the post office.
On Tuesday, some took to Capitol Hill to testify during a hearing on the delivery issues. Frederick resident Ronnie Adema relies on the post office to deliver material to learn Braille while she's going deaf and blind, but the delays have made it harder.
These prolonged delays has impacted my ability to learn Braille.
Postal worker Brian McLaurin from Forest Heights has seen a lot of the issues firsthand.
We are understaffed and we're required to stick to a rigid delivery schedules, which require drivers like myself to leave with trucks that are not fully loaded.
USPS Inspector General Tammy Whitcomb said policy changes, along with employee availability and the sheer volume of mail, have been causing the delivery issues. And she says they will soon look at facilities where mail delivery has been especially problematic, like Baltimore.
In the early fall, we're going to launch a targeted look at the 10 processing plants that have been challenged for years, but were particularly hit during the COVID pandemic, and where service really tanked, so that we can get underneath the hood and really see what has caused the problems for years.
And today, Whitcomb requested $17 million for her office. Now it's up to lawmakers to decide if they'll fund that and hopefully get to the bottom of some of these mail issues. We're live at Gwens Falls Parkway. Stetson Miller for WJZ.
Stetson, thank you. Another big development we're following tonight. The FDA has issued a new warning now about one of the coronavirus vaccines being used right here in the U.S. Officials say the Johnson & Johnson vaccine may be linked to a very rare neurological disorder known as Guillain-Barré syndrome. Now, J&J says the chance of having this occur is actually very low, though. So far, there's been 100 preliminary reports of the syndrome out of nearly 13 million people who've received the shot. We know one person has died. Both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccine have not been found to have this complication risk, and doctors are urging unvaccinated Americans to get the shot to protect against the fast-spreading Delta variant.
If we get vaccinated, we build a barrier against the virus, and that barrier protects our children. So again, do it for yourself, do it for your community, do it for the children.
Now, the largest increase of new COVID cases is happening in some southern and western states. The CDC's deputy director says more than 99% of all new cases are in people who are completely unvaccinated. And meantime, if you feel like you've been paying more for things lately, well, you're right. The cost of living in the U.S., that rose in June by nearly 8% and up nearly 5.5% since last year. Different factors driving rising inflation include supply chain issues, which are pushing up the cost of new and used vehicles as well. And as the world continues to reopen now, demand for dining out and demand for travel also triggering higher prices.
Yeah. President Biden now putting voting rights front and center. The president and dozens of Texas state lawmakers are calling on Congress to approve national legislation as several Republican-led states have now passed restrictive voting measures. Skylar Henry is at the White House tonight for WJZ.
President Biden went to the historic place where the U.S. Constitution was signed to push for the sanctity of the ballot box.
There's an unfolding assault taking place in America today, an attempt to suppress and subvert the right to vote in fair and free elections.
His speech comes as a handful of mostly Republican-led states have passed restrictive voting measures in less than 2 weeks after the U.S. Supreme Court upheld 2 Arizona voting rules. One of those rules bans third-party collection of mail-in ballots, and the other allows election workers to discard ballots cast in the wrong precinct.
The 21st century Jim Crow assault is real, and we're going to challenge it vigorously.
President Biden has thrown his support behind 2 voting rights bills. One is named for the late civil rights icon and Congressman John Lewis. The other, the House passed For the People Act, which was blocked by Senate Republicans. More than 50 Texas state Democratic lawmakers fled a special session in Austin for Washington, D.C. They're demanding Congress take action. It's the second time this year they've walked out to stop their Republican-led state legislature from passing new voting measures that include adding ID requirements for mail-in ballots and giving more powers to partisan poll watchers.
Texas Democrats will use everything in our power to fight back.
I think it's pretty obvious that this is nothing more than a political stunt.
Texas GOP Senator John Cornyn blasted the move, and Governor Greg Abbott has threatened to have them arrested and brought back to the State House when they return. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
All right, right now we want to update that breaking news from the top of the show. A lot of police activity outside of Reisterstown Road Plaza. This is on Reisterstown Road in northwest Baltimore. Chopper 13 was over that scene just before 5 o'clock, where there was at least 1 medic unit. This outside of the giant food store there. Now, WJZ has a crew en route to the scene. They should be there shortly. We will update you as soon as we get more information.
Well, the death toll still climbing at the site of the condo collapse in South Florida. More bodies have been pulled from the rubble there, bringing the number of confirmed dead to 95. No one has been found alive since the first hours after that building fell 20 days ago. The Miami-Dade County mayor says 14 people tonight are still missing. And of course, heavy rain is making that search for them even more challenging.
Well, tonight, soccer fans in England showing support for 3 players who missed penalty kicks in a sudden death shootout that decided the final match of the European Soccer Championship. Now, the trio on England's team simply blasted with racist abuse online after the game. Police now tracking those abusive posts, trying to find those responsible. Others are pointing fingers at top officials, including Prime Minister Boris Johnson, accusing them of enabling the racists.
Well, Boeing has a new headache for its 787 Dreamliner. The company says some of the planes are having an issue with its fuselage segment joints. Those joints are required to meet precise standards that go down to a fraction of an inch. Boeing says it has developed a fix here, but it is going to delay plans to get the roughly 100 Dreamliners into the hands of the airlines by the end of the year. However, this should not impact any flight routes significantly since the Dreamliner is used primarily for international flights. Boeing says 787s already in service do not need to be grounded.
Well, last night in Denver, the Orioles' Trey Mancini, come on now, put on quite the show while making it to the finals of the Home Run Derby. So tonight, his teammate now, Cedric Mullins, will he do the same in the All-Star game? Mullins was at Mancini's side last night, giving him encouragement, a little pep talk throughout the competition. Cedric was named the American League's starting center fielder, and he's going to bat ninth tonight. You got to remember, it was just 2 years ago Mullins was sent down to Double-A Bowie after a terrible start to the 2019 season. This year, though, yeah, things have changed quite a bit. He leads the American League in hits, playing Gold Glove caliber defense. Mullins has gone from being a borderline prospect to a significant part now of the Orioles' rebuild.
He is very quickly becoming a face of the franchise kind of player for us. He's been one of the best players in baseball in the first half. He's possibly, the best center fielder outside of Trout in the American League. It's a tremendously exciting development, I think, for this franchise and what we're trying to do to have what looks like an impact center fielder on our hands, and I'm so glad for him.
That's some high praise from the top guy right there, and he deserves it for sure. Mullins, the first Oriole to start an All-Star game since Manny Machado in 2018. Yeah, we all remember Manny. Shohei Ohtani and the Nationals' Max Scherzer, they are the starting pitchers tonight in Denver. And we're ready for Mullins. We know he's going to light it up. All right, teachers and students working together and helping each other. For the past 40 years, that right there has been the mission of a unique summer reading program over in Carroll County.
Rachel Carden takes us inside the classroom.
What are you seeing there, Emmett? You're kind of close to the book.
At Mechanicsville Elementary in Sykesville, the students in this classroom are teaching their teachers.
You are able to put things into practice and have the ability to reflect, collaborate, and grow.
Because instructors like Sarah Sitton,
who's our next intruder? Damien?
Are working towards a master's degree in reading and literacy.
This part is a dialogue.
In this classroom, they are both teaching and being taught.
I love watching and helping kids read because the growth and how proud they are of themselves is just the best feeling in the world.
The students in the 4-week course need a little boost in the reading department. In this room, the world truly is their oyster.
Every year for the past 40 years, McDaniel College Reading Clinic picks a new theme, and this year it's Under the Sea.
For the kids, it's help in an area they need it. For the clinicians, many already teachers, it's 6 college credits and the joy of helping a child.
And I think I fall more in love with teaching and watching kids grow as readers every day that I'm here.
And for Damien, today's reading is going swimmingly.
I just want to read a book and make me happy or something. I just read a fiction book.
In Sykesville, I'm Rachel Carden for WJZ.
There's nothing like getting your summer reading list together. Do you remember that?
You would get excited.
You would get excited.
Marking it down. Yeah. And I love the theme, Under the Sea.
Yeah, I like
do that
again.
Song. No, that's it. One and done. All right, still to come tonight on WJZ News at 5 o'clock. Don't worry, you can show off your dance moves a little longer, Nicole. The announcement from the Biden administration about TikTok's future in the U.S.
And the West is on fire, I should say. Dozens of wildfires burning in at least 7 states tonight. The big concern that's causing the flames to spread and fast.
And I'm meteorologist Chelsea Ingram. Heat and humidity continuing across the state. I'll let you know when things might be just slightly less humid in the 7-day forecast. That's right after this.
We want to update that breaking news from the top of the show less than 30 minutes ago. City police confirm a double shooting at that giant food store at the Reisterstown Road Plaza that killed a man.
Police say a man and a woman were shot by an armed security guard there after some sort of altercation. We're told the woman was shot in the hand. The man then rushed to a local hospital where he died from his injuries. Now, we do have a crew arriving at that scene very shortly. We'll have much more coming up tonight on WJZ News at 6 o'clock.
All right, well, taking a live look outside, let's discuss the weather. It's hot, it's humid, nothing new there, and nothing new tomorrow either. We're looking at a high temperature right around 92 degrees. A spotty shower or thunderstorm can't be ruled out. We're looking at 90s all the way through the first half of the weekend. Saturday, right around 93 degrees. In fact, on Saturday, we could get some very strong thunderstorms, so I'll be watching that day very closely. We fall into the 80s Sunday, so finally slightly cooler and actually a little below average for this time of year. It looks like Tuesdays when we'll get a little break from the humidity. Over to you.
7 western states, the 2 largest in Oregon and California, have forced many people out of their homes there. Now, as firefighters struggle to get those flames under control, they're also dealing with extreme heat and strong winds that are causing these fires to pick up some speed and then quickly change directions. We know one of the fires, the Beckworth Complex fire just north of Lake Tahoe, that's in California, was ignited by lightning and is the state's largest fire so far this year.
Well, First Lady Jill Biden is headed to the Olympics, of course, not to compete, but she is traveling to Japan next week to attend the opening ceremony. It comes after the White House said last week it was unsure if she would go over COVID concerns, of course, due to the spike in cases in Japan. Most spectators, of course, not allowed to attend any Olympic events.
And South Korea also dealing with a record number of new COVID cases per day. And now the country's health minister introducing an unusual measure to help slow the spread a bit. Fast treadmills in gyms and fast-paced music, they're banned. The country's health ministry says harsh breathing from intense activities can spatter a lot of saliva.
Well, the White House wants to toss out an appeal filed by the Trump administration impacting the popular app TikTok. Well, President Biden has already issued an executive order scrapping Trump's proposed restrictions against TikTok and other Chinese apps. Now, last year, former President Trump tried to ban those apps from U.S. app stores, claiming that they pose a national security risk. Well, the Biden administration is now developing its own criteria for assessing national security risks by foreign-owned apps.
Well, Jeff Bezos tonight can officially head to space. Now, the billionaire's trip has just been approved by the government. Bezos' Blue Origin company received the go-ahead from the FAA to launch its flight next week. Blue Origin needed to verify the spacecraft's hardware and software, though, so that it works safely during a test flight so that they could see that. Well, Bezos going up in just 9 days. This after Richard Branson traveled to the edge of space on his Virgin Galactic ship. It's been a bit of a competition, I'd say.
Yeah, Billionaire Boys Club. Yeah. All right, if you are not a fan of heights, that means we're out. This sport is not for you.
I didn't hear of it, but you might have heard of what's called slacklining. It's gaining a lot of popularity here. You're balanced, then walk on a narrow strip of nylon. But here's the kicker. You're suspended between 2 mountaintops.
All right, this group actually just set a new world record here, skylining 1.3 miles over a valley in Sweden. They used a GPS tracker to verify the distance.
So it looks daredevilish, but highliners say the sport requires a dedication to safety and a calm. Yeah, I would think so.
There's no net?
You have you couldn't pay me all the money in the world to do that.
Not for $1 billion,
nope.
You wouldn't do it?
Not $10 billion,
oh my
nothing,
gosh.
no shot.
I would do it for $1 billion.
I wouldn't even go on top of the building, let alone there. All right, still to come tonight on WJZ News at 5 o'clock.
The Emmy nominations are here, and I'm breaking down one of the top prizes. That's coming up.
It is that time of year. The 2021 Emmy nominations are in.
And Entertainment Tonight's Nichelle Turner breaking them down for us. Nichelle.
Hey there, Nicole and Rick. There's nothing better than enjoying Emmy Nom Day from the beautiful Baha Mar Resort in the Bahamas. But I want to focus on one of the show's big categories, Best Drama Series, which has a little something for everybody. Netflix's breakout hit Bridgerton steps into the ring.
It doesn't get more dramatic or dishier.
The debut season scored an impressive 12 nominations, but can they take down this royal juggernaut? The Crown won Best Drama at this year's Golden Globes and earned a whopping 24 Emmy nominations. It tied with the Star Wars spinoff The Mandalorian for most Emmy noms. But they would have to beat the 2017 winner, The Handmaid's Tale, Billy Porter's final season of Pose, and This Is Us.
How does it feel for you all as a cast to be getting these nominations?
It feels really nice. I think that the shooting during COVID and all of the extra precautions that we've had to take has really upped everyone's game.
Hi, you know who we are.
Rounding out the category are a few surprises. Amazon Prime Video's dark superhero series, The Boys, and the critically loved but recently canceled Lovecraft Country. There are so many great shows. It's going to be really, really tough. And check out ET tonight for more Emmy noms who got snubbed. Plus, Jason Sudeikis on hitting his rock bottom and breaking his silence on his split from Olivia Wilde. Don't miss it. For Entertainment Tonight, I'm Nichelle Turner.
We want to be where Nichelle is.
Michelle's living the dream.
She is. All right, last year's ceremony, of course, was virtual because of the pandemic, but this year's show will have an in-person audience.
And you can watch the Emmy Awards Sunday, September 19th, starting at 8 p.m. right here on WJZ. I mean, just having the couch back together,
we're getting used to
That's
this.
just as good as the blue water.
We're so close now.
We're so come here. All right, coming up on WJZ News, Denise and Vicar in the Cube getting ready for the news at 6.
They're following today's top stories, including that breaking news, a deadly shooting inside a Giant along Reisterstown Road. We are live next.